Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Lit Life series. I am your host, KP Carter, the Literacy Whisperer, and I'm so glad that you're here with me tonight. And I see people popping in. Thank you for being on time. Yes. And let me see. I am to come in. I think I'm doing this just right. Yes.
Good evening.
Yes. Like I say to everybody every week, I want to make sure that I get my guests to come in with nice and smoothly.
There we go. It could have
Thank you for joining me. So glad. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
So, as I was telling everyone, welcome to the Lit Life series. Oops, I want to knock my camera over here. And I'm the Literacy Whisperer, and I whisper reading behaviors and etiquette to promote and develop good reading skills. Like, for instance, helping your child have a nice, calm atmosphere when you're ready to read. That's reading etiquette. More about that another time, but tonight I want to focus on my wonderful guest, Miss. I always want to mispronounce your name.
You're going to pronounce it correctly.
Aniesha.
Yes.
Yes. Aniesha Jackson. Yes. My SEL advocate.
That's right.
Yes.
Getting that social learning for the kids.
That's right. That's right. So let me just see if I can invite a few folks in. I know some people said that they would be coming. And
with Jack. She has a new book coming out. I'm so proud of her. Cool.
Oh, wow.
Sharing is the new cool. So shout out to Jacqueline. Good job.
Yes, yes. So you know what we're going to do? We are just going to get started. Why don't you tell the folks who are live and the folks who will watch the replay, tell us about yourself.
Yes. So I am Aniesha Jackson. I am a school counselor and a children's book author of Queen Kia's 8-Step Guide to Friendships. I have been in education for over 15 years in various capacities, and author is something new to my resume that I absolutely love what I do. I absolutely love writing. It is me counseling through my books. So I can't get away from it. I'm into helping kids, and especially with social emotional learning, social skills. They don't mention too much about character education traits, but I'm very big for character education.
Okay. Now you got really soft all of a sudden.
And I hear it. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I have everything up nice and loud, but all of a sudden you got really soft.
I don't
know.
Well,
let's just keep going.
But no,
you know what? Now I can hardly hear you at all.
Oh, no.
I'm wondering, should we start over? Because
okay, we're starting over. I don't. I'm not.
Why don't you? Can you hear me clearly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Why don't you go out and then come back in?
Got it.
Okay. Because it just happened all of a sudden. So now while we're waiting for Miss Aniesha Jackson to come back, I hope you all had a great day. We've been having a lot of tornado warnings in this area, and it's been a little scary. And Ms. Jackson mentioned that she had been an educator for over 15 years. Well, I have been an educator for over 35 years, and the events that have happened this week in Texas have shaken me to my core. And I was a fourth grade teacher for many years. So you can only imagine how I'm feeling. Now I see you're back. Let me
Can
hear
you
you say
hear me? No,
really softly.
I
I don't know what happened all of a sudden. Now, is your volume turned all the way up on your phone?
it sure is. I haven't done anything. Can you hear me? Do I need to be animated? I don't want to look
I
crazy.
think so because I can't hear you at all. Maybe, you know what?
Hmm.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, story time with
Oh, well,
Jack.
story time with Jack says she can hear clearly. Okay, so maybe it's just me on my end. We'll
Okay.
just keep going. I'll just
Okay.
sit really
Well, I need to
close
call my
so I
husband
make sure I can
because
hear
he's
you.
the technology guy. 'Cause I don't
Technology. Oh my goodness. So you started telling a little bit about SEL. I want you to tell us how you use your books to promote literacy and tie that in with SEL.
Yes. So believe it or not, I was thinking about this question and I was like, that is a good question because I didn't go into it necessarily to promote literacy, but I wanted to promote diversity in literacy. I worked at Title I schools and schools that have beautiful brown people like me, but the books that I was reading did not reflect my population. And I was like, you know what, Anisha, maybe you'll be the one to write books with African American or Black and Brown children to talk about responsibility. Now, there's amazing books out there on Love Your Hair, and especially at that time, and careers. But when it came to social emotional learning, friendships, being a responsible kid, I couldn't find books to read to my students. And so I was like, I could complain about it or I could actually do something about it. And lo and behold, I have my Queen Kia. Here she is. My character, to promote SEL, to promote what I call navigating the world of kiddom. Kids, I grew up in the 80s, so I was seen and not heard. Like, it was just a whole different time. And I'm like, well, as a counselor, now I'm like, no, they're kids, but they're still little people, and we need to help them navigate the issues. If they lose their puppy, if they had a bad day because my friend doesn't want to play with me, for them, that is serious business. And I can be like, I have bills to pay, I have to worry about dinner. But to them, it's very important. And so because of that, it's important for me to help them navigate the world of friendships, the world of divorce, the world of grief. And like you mentioned earlier, I don't even want to go into the traumatic events. It literally, just briefly took me back to Sandy Hook because I was working in New Jersey when it happened. And I'm thinking, what would I do? I'm always in the front office. This was way before we had all these safety procedures. And I'm always in the front office. What would I do if this were to happen? So that's my spiel on it because it's actually traumatic. I had no idea how traumatic it was. But then me being an administrator, I'm second in command at that school. It's the principal and then it's me. And I'm like, what would I do? So I must admit, I am praying for those families. And so even my next children's book will be on grief. But I was like, this is not the way I want to introduce the topic. But it's very scary, and it's scary as an educator. Like that, Sandy Hook forever changed. And I work at the elementary school level. And
Yes.
I'm sorry that's taken a whole nother
That's
turn,
okay.
but
One thing I want to make sure that everyone understands, what does SEL stand for? Because everyone doesn't know.
right. So it is social emotional learning. I'm definitely a proponent that the 3 R's. Everyone hears about the three R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. And I'm just saying, without the 3 S's, none of that's going to happen. Without kids feeling safe physically and emotionally, without kids feeling a sense of support, because if you don't have good rapport with the kids, you can't correct behavior. They won't even have a connection to you. So they need that support. And then the third S is skills. Okay. They need to learn how to be attentive listeners. They need to know how to manage their behaviors, manage their thoughts. They need to identify emotions. All of these soft skills is what's going to help them be successful. So those are, I'm like, before you can get to the 3 R's, you need the 3 S's. And one of them is social skills.
So that leads me to my next question.
Yes.
Can you share 2 tips with parents regarding literacy or SEL?
Right. So as far as literacy, because as a school counselor, I not only do behavioral, there's a whole academic piece that I'm also in charge of. And I absolutely love the academic piece. Believe it or not, it is the academic pieces, which is why I went into school counseling, to close the achievement gap, because I refuse to believe that Black and brown children cannot achieve. And all of the data said that we're intellectually inferior. And I was like, oh, no. I'm like, I'm going to change that narrative one kid at a time, because you and I both know the truth, that is a falsehood. But as far as literacy, one of the biggest things that I teach is that parents are the role models. I'm huge into like kindness and respect. And I'm like, respect is best caught, not taught. So if you want your children to read, they need to see you reading. They need to see you reading, whether it's a magazine, whether it's a novel, whether it's the newspaper. Do they even have newspapers? I'm a journalist. I've gotten awards for my journalism, but I don't know if I know they really do have newspapers, but they need to see you reading, and they don't need to have reading as a punishment. Go to your room and read. Then you're framing it out, or I read because it's boring or because I got in trouble. So that's one of the things. Another thing I do, I have 4 kids. I have 4 babies. And I always have missing socks. I don't know why the children cannot put the socks together in the laundry. I just don't understand. So all of these little socks that we have around the house, I'm like, we're going to the dollar store and we're going to make puppets. And so we make puppets to go along with their stories. So kind of make fun. So make reading fun with puppets with different voices. Just make it an enjoyable experience for them. I know I'm going on and on. I have tips for days.
But thank you. Those are very important tips. Very important tips.
Okay.
Now tell us, what is next for you?
Well, what is next for me? I am creating a coloring book for summer. Kids come around, I'm bored. Well, I have something for you. So I'm creating a coloring book. It's almost in its final stages. And KP, you can probably attest to this. When you're close to the finish line, you're like, oh, I have to still do this. Oh, I still have to. There's so many loose ends. So it will be out in July or earlier. Believe it or not, my illustrator is from Ukraine. So this book was supposed to come out in April. But because of what is going on in Ukraine, she had to flee. So I'm like, I'm worried about your safety. So this coloring book has been pushed back. But it is an A through Z guide of things kids can do. So I only printed out a couple of copies. I literally had, girl. I had kids saying, do you like the thicker lines or the thinner lines? But I have like for G, so it's an A through Z guide. So G is for gardening. So if they're like, I'm bored, well, you can color the page and then you can see if you want to do some gardening. H, I have for hide and seek. So, and then V, which is kind of, here we go. Okay. And then for V is like volleyball with balloons. So it's just, it gives kids ideas on what they can do. And of course, there's activity pages. It's going to be over 100 pages. So they can't say, I'm bored. You're like, get that coloring book. And what does A say? Arts and crafts? Well, let's do some arts and crafting. So
Yes, yes.
yeah.
So now tell us, where can we purchase your books?
Yes. So, of course, if you want an autographed copy, you can go to AnieshaJackson.com. Not only do you get an autographed copy, but you get stickers. You get the whole nine. You get stickers, you get bookmarks, you get coloring sheets to go along with my book. I also, believe it or not, I have it translated in Spanish. And KP, I taught Spanish for 1 year in middle school, believe it or not. And then I have my coloring book, another coloring book, 106 pages, Queen Kia's 8-Step Guide to Friendships. Oh, no, it's not. It's Merry and Bright. It's a holiday coloring book. So all of those you can get on AnieshaJackson.com, or you can get it on Amazon. You can type in my name, Aniesha Jackson. You can type in Queen Kia Friendship Book, and everything will pop up on Amazon. So,
well, I will make sure I put that all in the caption so everybody will know how to get these wonderful books. Thank you so much for joining me. You shared such important information, and I'm going to have you come back in July.
yeah.
So that's right. When you get your new book, your new coloring activity book, you will be back. You will have a home to come back to.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And what are you? Let me interview you. What are you up to?
Oh my goodness.
It must be a lot.
The biggest thing that I am up to right now is I am getting ready to do a reboot of my very first Lizzie B. Hayes book, Summertime with Lizzie B. Hayes. I'm doing a reboot. Like some people say they're relaunching a new edition. I'm doing a reboot. So I'm so excited about that. I'm going to be talking about that a lot more.
Or you got 2013 or 2014? When did
Say that again?
2000. When did it come out? 2013.
So this book, this wonderful Summertime with Lizzie B. Hayes, came out in 2014.
Okay, that's what I thought. And so
it's going to be rebooted in June of 2022. So stay tuned. Yes. And I'm going to continue with my parent workshops. But the main thing right now is the reboot of Summertime with Lizzie B. Hayes. Thank you so much for asking.
Well, no.
And anything else you want to share with us?
No, I'm just interested in what you're doing. And also I'm doing author visits for the summer. But like you, I'm like, let me get this coloring book out, you know. So it feels like I'm preoccupied with that. But I have, I'm visiting day camps because summer is coming up. And so, yeah, I'm busy to the glory of God.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Author visits, but yeah. Uh-oh, what happened? Did I freeze?
No, you're still there. I'm just, throughout this whole time, I'm making sure I have my ears really tuned in to what you're saying. That's why I'm watching your lips, because it's something with the sound on my end, I guess, what it is.
Okay.
So, I'm so glad you were here. I know everyone who watched this live, and those of you who are going to watch the replay, you're going to learn so much. And I want you to rush out and get those books by Miss Aniesha Jackson.
Yes.
And get ready for the Lizzie B. Hayes reboot coming in June.
Girl Magic.
Yes.
Story time with
and until next time, you know, I wish you love, laughter, and literacy.
God bless you.
Blessings.